Hi everyone and welcome to a new tutorial. This will be the blanket blocks. I also created a special gradient yarn kit for this project. Please find all the links in the description box below. We are going to unravel the yarn from the outside to keep this yarn cake stable. I'm using my favorite sheer glue twist lace knitting needle tips and the twist thread cables. Later on we are going to use the cable connectors because the blanket will be much bigger. This way you can connect as many cables as you like to reach your desired length. This will be the endless cast on. For this, start with a simple slip knot, create a circle, put the long strand under the circle and pull it through. This creates a loop. Insert your needle through the loop and tighten. This is stitch number 1. We're going to cast on 20 stitches, 19 left. For this, insert your needle through this stitch on the front side from the bottom. Grab the yarn and pull up a loop. Put this loop backwards onto the previous needle. Grab the yarn and pull up a loop. Put it onto the previous needle. And these are 20 stitches. Now we're going to knit row 1. This will be the garter stitch and we will knit only knit stitches. So how to knit? Insert your needle on the front side from the bottom, grab the yarn, pull up a loop and take off. And that's a knit stitch. One more time. Stitch through the next stitch, pull up a loop and take off. Repeat this across the row. And that's our row 1. So now turn your work. Now we're going to create a selvage. For this, bring the yarn to the front. Insert your needle from above as if to purl and take off. Don't knit this stitch. Then bring your yarn to the back side again. Now knit all the other stitches as before. Then turn your work. Bring the yarn to the front and take off the very first stitch. Then knit all the other stitches across the row. And this is the main pattern for this blanket. We will repeat this pattern until you see the next purl in your yarn cake. The purl will tell you to create a new block. And that's my work so far. So now we're going to switch to the black contrasting yarn. But first, let's cast off all our stitches. For this, take off the first stitch, then knit the second stitch. Now pull the previous stitch over the knitted one. Knit the next stitch and pull the previous stitch over the knitted one. One more time, knit one and pull over. If you prefer any other cast off, please feel free to cast off in your desired way. Now cut the yarn and leave a longer tail for sewing. And now now we're going to pick up stitches across the selvage. Insert your needle through the next stitch. Grab the black yarn and pull up a loop. Then tie a knot with the black yarn and the gradient yarn to secure your work. Then insert your needle through the next stitch and pull up a loop. Continue this way across the row. And this is how it looks like after picking up all the stitches. Now we're going to knit 9 rows in black. In my first row, I won't take off the stitch and I'm going to knit all the stitches. Turn your work, and from now on we're going to take off the first stitch. And then knit all the other stitches across the row. We're going to meet again after knitting 9 rows. Please leave at the end of your last row 1 stitch for better color change. And these are our 9 rows in color black. So 1 stitch is left, and now we're going to switch again to the gradient. Take the new yarn and knit the last stitch. Cut the black yarn, leave a longer tail for sewing, and tie a simple knot. And now we're going to continue knitting as before. Take off the first stitch and knit all the other stitches across the row. After the end of your row, turn your work and repeat the pattern until you reach the next purl of your yarn cake. And now I can show you why we left 1 stitch for the color change. This way we avoid a stare in our work. One thing that I want to show is how to sew all these loose ends. Choose which side will be your right and which the wrong side. I like to see the clean side, but you can choose also the other one, of course. So we're going to sew the ends on the wrong side. Always on the wrong side. For this, take your tapestry needle Then stitch through the stitches in one direction. Make sure that it's not too tight, and then stitch backwards. Cut the yarn. So this way you can sew all your loose ends appearing in your project. And that's my work so far. The second purl appeared. Now we're going to cast off all the stitches. Then we're going to tilt our work counterclockwise and pick up all the stitches with the black yarn again. Before casting off, make sure that the right side is facing you. If you see the wrong side, knit one more row and cast off afterwards. We're going to cast off the same way as before. Take off the first stitch and knit the next one. Then pull the previous stitch over the knitted one. Knit one and pull over. To avoid a black stare, leave 2 stitches left at the end of your row. So 2 stitches are left. Now cut off the yarn and leave a longer tail for sewing. Knit the last stitch with the new color. Tie a simple knot. And pull the last stitch over the knitted one. Now we can pick up all the stitches across the selvage the same way as before. You can see the same braid appearing on the back side. And these are all the stitches we picked up. Now we're going to knit 9 rows in black again. First row will be the knit stitch only. And afterwards we're going to take off the very first stitch at the beginning of each row as usual. And this is actually the magic of this blanket pattern. After knitting 9 rows in black, we're going to switch the colors again. This will be a bigger block than the previous one. When you reach the next purl, we're going to cast off stitches and switch to the black yarn again. And so on and so on. So just tilt your work counterclockwise and cast off on the right side. Please leave a thumbs up if you like the pattern, and happy knitting! Until next time, bye bye!